An Italian teenager who used his computer skills to promote the Catholic faith is on his way to becoming the Catholic Church's first millennial saint. Carlo Acutis, who has gained the nickname God's Influencer, passed away in 2006 when he was just 15. Vatican correspondent Christopher Lamb explains how a second miracle attributed to him has just been recognized by Pope Francis.
Well, he's become known as God's influencer. Carlos Acutis, a teenage gamer and computer programmer, is set to be declared the Catholic Church's first millennial saint. Almost 18 years after he died from leukemia aged 15, Pope Francis has recognised a second miracle attributed to Acutis, paving the way for him to be canonised. The London-born Italian teenager was a computer prodigy. He used his technological skills to spread awareness of the Catholic faith, including a website which documented reports of miracles. Since his death, Acutis' following among Catholics has grown. He's widely seen as a saintly figure who is truly relatable to today's youth. His mother, Antonia Salzano, continues to share the message of her son's life.
And it's a great sign of hope because he told us, as I did, you too can become holy. Nevertheless, all the media, the technologies, it seems sometimes that holiness is something that belongs to the past. Instead, holiness is also nowadays, in this modern time.
Acutis grew up in Milan and, like other kids of his age, he enjoyed video games, sports and making funny films about his family dogs. To declare someone a saint, the Catholic Church normally requires proof of two miracles. The latest miracle attributed to Acutis was the healing of a woman from Costa Rica who suffered a head trauma after falling from her bicycle in Florence in Italy. According to Vatican News, she was cured after her mother prayed at the tomb of Acutis. Acutis was beatified and declared blessed after his first miracle in 2020, with the Vatican approving as miraculous the healing of a Brazilian boy who had a birth defect in his pancreas that made him unable to eat normally. The next step now is for the Pope to hold a meeting of cardinals to sign off on Acutis' sainthood. Then they will pick a date for the canonization. Christopher Lamb, CNN, London.
All right, here to discuss is Katie McGrady, host of The Katie McGrady Show on Sirius XM. Great to see you, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so now that the Pope has recognized two miracles attributed to Carlo Acutis, what qualifies as a miracle? You know, how do they get formally recognized by the Pope?
Well, it's a pretty intense research process. They don't just rubber stamp things because we want more saints. We certainly do want more saints. God is very clearly still making saints, but they have to investigate. They have to gather evidence. I mean, this process has been going on since Carlo passed away. There's a 5-year waiting period, so it is rather quick, but I think there's something going on here, and it's evidence that the Vatican wants us to know that holiness is very much still possible, that Carlo is very clearly advocating for people in heaven. So they do a research process, there's investigation, there's conversations with doctors. Sometimes that phrase, the devil's advocate, is used where, you know, they try to poke holes in things. That's not a formal position anymore, but it's certainly a detailed research process to ensure this is real. It was because of Blessed Carlo's intercession, and therefore we can confirm the veracity of this miracle.
I mean, Carlo's mom said, you know, her son used his computer skills to spread the message of Jesus Christ, not to earn money or become famous. Do you think Carlo will be an example for younger generations?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I have long often called Blessed Carlo my buddy in heaven. He's very much a heavenly friend. And it's really kind of amusing because I had no idea that a contemporary across the world was working and building a website when, you know, we're the same age. He was born in 91, I was born in 89. So we're very much on the same experiences when it comes to growing up in the 90s, the internet of the early 2000s. And so I think for millennials, especially as we're in our 30s, we're raising kids, we're trying to live our faith, we can look to Carlo and see, okay, holiness is attainable. Holiness is attainable even on the internet. Holiness is something that is not just for people who levitate or people who speak in tongues or people who can bilocate, which is sometimes the stories of the saints, and those are incredible. But holiness is something that we can find in the ordinary. And we find it because of our sacramental life. Carlo went to daily mass. Carlo was kind to people he met on the street who suffered from homelessness. Carlo was a good guy, and as a good guy, it was because of his faith. And so we can look to that example, and it's moving, it's challenging. I can tell you, I told my daughter, she's 6 years old, the other day, that Blessed Carlo is on the path. He's a little closer to canonization, and she got all excited. She knows his story. We've talked about it
Wow.
before, because Blessed Carlo loved Pokemon. And she immediately said, "Oh, I can't wait to tell my friends." And she starts listing off all her friends who like Pokemon. So here's a 6-year-old who's preparing for First Communion
really
next year,
relate.
who knows the story of the saint.
Yeah.
It is definitely an inspiration.
So then, if he does indeed become a saint, what do you think people, might pray to him for?
Well, so I'll give you my teacher hat will go on. We ask a saint to pray for us. So I think a lot of people will ask Blessed Carlo to pray for us to navigate media, especially social media, well. Sometimes I play a little game with, well, what would Carlo post? Would Carlo say that on Twitter? Would he post that on Facebook? Would he repost this thing on Instagram? Because he navigated the internet really well. So I think he'll be a great intercessor for how to use the internet in a life-giving and truthful way.
All right, Katie McGrady will continue to listen to you on SiriusXM. Thank you so much
Thanks.
for coming on
Appreciate
TV with us.
Absolutely.